First contact catastrophe. The Deep Space Monitoring Station Artemis 7 hung in the void like a metallic spider, its solar arrays extended like delicate limbs. Inside, Commander Alara Chen studied the holographic display with narrowed eyes. The diplomatic mission was supposed to be routine. Humanity's first official contact with the Sylphid Collective, a newly discovered civilization in the Orion Spur. Final checks complete, Commander, Lieutenant Ramirez reported, his fingers dancing across the control panel. The Pathfinder is ready for departure. Ilara nodded, her expression betraying none of the anxiety churning in her stomach. Humanity had only ventured into interstellar space 40 years ago, and the Earth Alliance was still finding its footing among the stars. The discovery of the Sylphids, a peaceful, plant-like species with remarkable bioengineering capabilities, represented an opportunity that couldn't be squandered. Very well. Signal the crew. We launch in 30 minutes. The Pathfinder was humanity's pride, a sleek vessel designed specifically for diplomatic missions. Its hull gleamed under the distant starlight as it detached from Artemis 7, engines humming, with restrained power. Unlike the military vessels with their angular designs and obvious weapon ports, the Pathfinder conveyed peace through every curve of its architecture. What the Sylphids didn't know, what few outside Earth's military leadership knew, was that the Pathfinder carried enough firepower to reduce a small moon to rubble. Humanity had learned caution the hard way, evolving on a planet where danger lurked in every shadow. Entering FTL in 3, 2, 1. The stars stretched into luminous streaks as the Pathfinder punched a hole through space-time. Admiral Kingston's weathered face appeared on the communication screen. Commander Chen, a word in private. Ilara excused herself to her quarters, activating privacy protocols before accepting the call. I've just received word from our deep cover assets, Kingston said without preamble. The Galactic Council is watching this mission with extreme interest. Several member species have expressed concerns about humanity's expansion. Concerns, sir? They call us Deathworlders, Ilara. Kingston's mouth twisted into a humorless smile. Species that evolved on high-gravity, high-danger planets. They consider us unpredictable, dangerous. Ilara fought back a surge of indignation. We've had peaceful contact with 12 different species so far. And each time they've been surprised, we didn't immediately try to conquer them. Kingston shook his head. The Sylphids requested this meeting, but be aware, the Council has observers present. Give them no excuse to paint us as the aggressors. Understood, sir. 3 days later, the Pathfinder emerged from FTL at the coordinates provided by the EII Sylphid Collective. The sight that greeted them stole Ilara's breath. A massive structure orbited a blue gas giant, not a ship or station but a living construct. Immense leaf-like solar collectors extended from a central trunk that pulsed with bioluminescent light. That's a space station, Ramirez whispered. Dr. Samir Kumar, the mission's xenobiologist, leaned forward with naked fascination. No, Lieutenant, that's their ship, grown, not built. The Sylphid habitat extended a docking tendril, a living airlock that sealed perfectly against the Pathfinder's hull. The invitation was clear. Diplomatic team with me, Ilara ordered, checking her translator, one final time. Standard protocols, no weapons. The Sylphid delegation awaited them in a chamber that seemed to breathe, walls pulsing gently with a rhythm like a heartbeat. The aliens themselves stood nearly 3 meters tall, their bodies resembling slender trees with multiple branching limbs. Where a human would have a face, they possessed a cluster of sensitive filaments that shimmered with changing colors. The lead Sylphid's filaments glowed a gentle blue as it addressed them. We welcome the children of Earth to the embrace of the collective. The translator rendered its musical speech into English. I am nurturing harmony through wisdom, first tender of diplomatic blooms. Ilara performed the greeting they'd been taught, spreading her arms wide with palms upward. The people of Earth extend friendship and peaceful intentions. I am Commander Ilara Chen of the Earth Alliance vessel Pathfinder. The meeting progressed smoothly. The sylphids showed genuine curiosity about humanity, asking thoughtful questions about Earth's ecosystems and human culture. In return, they shared fascinating insights into their own society, a collective consciousness where individuals maintained autonomy while contributing to a greater whole. Your evolution on a high-gravity world with so many predators fascinates us, Nurturing Harmony admitted. Our homeworld knew little strife. Our challenges were of growth and nurturing, not survival against aggressors. Dr. Kumar nodded enthusiastically. Different evolutionary pressures create different problem-solving approaches. That's what makes this exchange so valuable. We have much to learn from each other. Just as Ilara began to relax, disaster struck. A deafening explosion rocked the chamber. The walls quivered in what could only be interpreted as pain. Sylphids cried out in their melodic language as emergency bioluminescence bathed everything in red light. "We're under attack," Ramirez shouted, instinctively reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. Through the transparent ceiling, Ilara watched in horror as energy weapons tore into the living habitat. A ship of unfamiliar design circled, the structure firing methodically at critical junctions. Nurturing Harmony's filaments flashed chaotic patterns of distress. "Why? Why do you do this?" "It's not us," Ilara protested. "That's not an Earth vessel." But the translator had failed in the attack, her words meaningless to the panicking sylphids. One of them activated a communication panel, sending a desperate message in the common galactic language. "Mayday. The Deathworlders attack without provocation. The humans deceived us." Before Ilara could protest further, a section of ceiling collapsed. The last thing she saw before consciousness fled was Nurturing Harmony shielding human diplomats with its own body, as biological material rained down around them. When Ilara awoke, she was back aboard the Pathfinder, Dr. Kumar, hovering over her, with a medical scanner. "The sylphids evacuated us before their habitat completely collapsed," he explained grimly. "3 of our team didn't make it. The sylphids suffered massive casualties." Ilara struggled to sit up despite the pounding in her head. The attacking ship? Gone, but not before broadcasting images of the destruction across all Galactic Council channels. Ramirez's face was ashen. "Commander, they used falsified transponder codes. As far as anyone knows, it was us." "Impossible. We can prove we can't." Admiral Kingston's voice cut through the room as his image appeared on the view screen. "Someone executed this perfectly. The attacking vessel self-destructed after transmitting its message. The Galactic Council has issued a formal condemnation of Earth and revoked our probationary status." Ilara felt sick. "The sylphids know we didn't do this. They were with us when it happened. The surviving sylphids have gone silent. Either they believe we somehow orchestrated it or someone's preventing them from speaking out." Kingston looked every one of his 60 years. "You're being ordered to return to Earth immediately. The Alliance is preparing for possible military action against us." "Sir, with respect, that's exactly what whoever did this wants. If we retreat now, we'll appear guilty." Kingston was silent for a long moment. "What do you propose, Commander?" Ilara's mind raced through possibilities. Someone went to extraordinary lengths to sabotage this first contact and frame humanity. I need to find out who and why. With a small team, I can investigate while the Pathfinder returns to Earth as ordered. That would be in direct violation of Council demands. You would be operating without official sanction or protection. Yes, sir. Ilara met his gaze steadily. But Earth needs answers before this escalates to war. After a tense silence, Kingston nodded almost imperceptibly. The Pathfinder will suffer an unfortunate shuttle malfunction during its return journey. A small craft with critical system failures presumed lost with all hands. Very tragic. Thank you, sir. Find the truth, Commander. Humanity's future may depend on it. As the Pathfinder prepared for departure, Ilara assembled her team. Ramirez for security, Kumar for his xenobiology expertise, and communications specialist Maya Wong, who spoke 3 alien languages without translator assistance. Their shuttle detached silently, thrusters dark until the Pathfinder jumped to FTL. Only then did Alara activate minimal power systems. "Where to, Commander?" Ramirez asked, hands poised over the navigation controls. Alara pulled up star charts on her datapad. The attack ship may have self-destructed, but every vessel leaves quantum wake traces. "We'll start by following those breadcrumbs." Kumar looked troubled. "Even if we find who's responsible, how do we convince the Council? We're already labeled as dangerous Deathworlders." "That's exactly what we'll use," Alara replied, a grim smile forming on her lips. "If they think humans are dangerous, we'll show them just how dangerous we can be when protecting the innocent." The shuttle slipped away into the darkness. Humans against unknown enemies in a galaxy suddenly turned hostile. But Alara felt a cold determination settle over her. Earth had evolved predators of every kind, and humans had overcome them all. Whatever orchestrated this attack was about to learn why Deathworlders were feared across the stars. And perhaps, when this was over, they would also learn why humans could be the most loyal allies any species could hope for. The hidden adversary. The shuttle drifted silently in the shadow of a massive asteroid, all non-essential systems powered down. Through the viewport, Alara watched the patrol vessel pass by, the third Galactic Council security ship they'd evaded in the past week. "They're really hunting us," Ramirez muttered, his hand unconsciously resting on the pulse pistol at his hip. "Not us specifically," Maya corrected, not looking up from her communication array. "They're tracking any human signatures. There's a difference." Dr. Kumar emerged from the small lab section at the rear of the shuttle. "I've finished analyzing the biological residue we collected from the Sylphid habitat debris." His expression was troubled. The attacking ship used weapons specifically calibrated to target the unique cellular structure of Sylphid bioengineering. This wasn't random violence, it was a precisely planned assassination. Alara absorbed this information, adding it to the growing constellation of evidence they'd gathered. So someone wanted the Sylphids dead and humanity blamed. The question remains, who benefits? A soft alert chimed from Maya's station. "Commander, I'm receiving a transmission on an encrypted frequency. It's using Earth Alliance diplomatic protocols, but," she frowned, "the source isn't human." "Put it through, audio only," Alara ordered, motioning for Ramirez to be ready. Voice like rustling leaves filled the cabin. "Commander Chen, I am Thalo reaching through darkness. I was assistant to nurturing harmony through wisdom. We must speak." Alara exchanged glances with her team. "How did you find us?" "Your shuttle's design is primitive by Council standards, but impressive in its heat management. I tracked your thermal signature, something Council vessels are not calibrated to detect." There was a pause. "I believe we seek the same truth." 6 hours later, their shuttle docked with a small Sylphid scout vessel hidden within a hollow asteroid. Thalo greeted them personally, shorter than most Sylphids, with filaments that glowed a deep purple. Unlike the graceful movements Alara remembered from the diplomatic meeting, Thalo's limbs moved with quick, almost human-like efficiency. "I modified my biology for speed rather than ceremony," Thalo explained, noticing Alara's observation. "The collective considers it eccentric." The interior of Thalo's ship was sparse compared to the lush chambers of the destroyed habitat. Here, biological components served purely functional purposes without aesthetic flourishes. "Few Sylphids believe humans orchestrated the attack," Thalo began once they were seated. "But many fear speaking out. Something is influencing the collective's leadership, something ancient and patient." "What do you mean?" Kumar leaned forward, intrigued. Instead of answering directly, Thalo extended a limb, projecting holographic data into the air. "After the attack, I accessed restricted archives. 3 times in the past millennium, promising species have been excluded from the Galactic Council following unprovoked aggression during first contact scenarios. The hologram showed 3 distinct species Alara didn't recognize. According to the data, all 3 had evolved on high-gravity planets with diverse predator populations, Deathworlds like Earth. In each case, Thalo continued, the species protested their innocence. In each case, evidence against them was overwhelming. All three eventually withdrew from galactic affairs. One drove itself to extinction through internal wars. Ramirez crossed his arms. You're suggesting a pattern. I'm suggesting a conspiracy, Thalo corrected. One with the patience of millennia. Maya studied the data with a linguist's attention to detail. These incidents occurred roughly 300 years apart. Why target Earth now? We've had contact with Council species for nearly a decade without incident. Because you're different. Thalo's filaments pulsed with emphasis. Previous Deathworld species were aggressive but straightforward. Humans combine martial capability with something far more threatening, adaptability and diplomacy. You make allies. You integrate. You understand other perspectives. Those are positive traits, Ilara noted. They are threatening traits to a hidden power that values stagnation and control. Thalo manipulated the hologram, revealing a star map. I believe I've identified their base of operations, a supposedly abandoned research station orbiting a dead moon in the Cygnus Reach. Council records show it was decommissioned centuries ago, but it still draws significant power. Kumar frowned. The Cygnus Reach is off limits to non-council vessels. Getting there would be nearly impossible without being detected. Not impossible, Thalo corrected. Merely improbable. Fortunately, my modifications include enhanced cognitive processing. I calculate a 17% chance of success, sufficient odds for a worthwhile endeavor. Ilara couldn't help but smile. There was something refreshingly direct about Thalo's approach. What exactly are we looking for once we get there? Evidence of who truly attacked the Sylphid habitat, and proof of this conspiracy. Without it, humanity will be isolated and vulnerable, just as the others were. Thalo's filaments dimmed slightly. And the Sylphid Collective will never know justice for our losses. The journey to the Cygnus Reach pushed their shuttle's capabilities to the limit. Thalo's knowledge of Council patrol patterns proved invaluable as they slipped through security, cordons that would have otherwise been impenetrable. Even so, they nearly didn't make it when a routine scan almost detected them hiding in the plasma wake of a commercial transport. The dead moon loomed before them, a barren, cratered rock circling a gas giant of swirling amber clouds. The research station was exactly where Thalo's data indicated, though at first glance it appeared abandoned, its exterior dark and lifeless. Minimal external power signatures, Maya reported, but I'm detecting complex shielding that's masking something much larger inside. No active weapon systems that I can see, added Ramirez. But those docking bays could launch fighters quickly, if needed. Ilara made her decision. We'll use the maintenance airlock on the station's underside. Council designs typically leave those with separate security systems that are easier to bypass. Thalo's filaments flickered with what Ilara had come to recognize as amusement. You've studied Council architecture well for newcomers. We're fast learners, Ilara replied. It's one of those threatening Deathworlder traits. The airlock yielded to Dr. Kumar's improvised bypass device, allowing them entry without triggering alarms. Inside, the station was cold and dimly lit, emergency lighting casting long shadows down curved corridors. This section is truly abandoned, Thalo observed. Sensory filaments extended. But there is activity deeper within, and... The Sylphid hesitated. Something else. A scent I cannot identify but that triggers ancestral warning responses in my biology. They moved cautiously through the station, avoiding automated security measures that Thalo helped identify. The deeper they went, the more the architecture changed, from the smooth organic curves favored by the Council to something angular and unsettling. These aren't Council designs anymore, Kumar whispered, scanning the walls with his handheld device. These alloys don't match any known Council technology. Finally, they reached a massive circular chamber. Hidden behind one-way transparent walls, they could observe without being seen. What they witnessed struck them all silent with shock. Below, dozens of aliens moved with precise coordination around a holographic display of the galaxy. But these weren't Council species, they were something else entirely. Tall, skeletal beings with elongated limbs and faces that seemed to be composed of shifting shadows beneath translucent skin. Voidborn, Thalo whispered. Filaments pulled tight against its body in an instinctive fear response. They are supposed to be extinct. They were the first species the Council ever encountered over 20,000 years ago. The archives say they were destroyed after attempting to enslave other sentient life. The holographic display zoomed in, on Earth, then shifted to show Earth Alliance colonies and outposts. One by one, they blinked red and disappeared in simulated attacks. They're planning an offensive against humanity, Ramirez breathed. But why frame us first? Isolation, Ilara realized. If the Council believes we're dangerous aggressors, they won't come to our aid when we're attacked. They might even assist in our containment. Maya had connected her translator to the chamber's audio systems. I'm picking up their communications. Their language is unlike anything in our databases, but there are patterns. After several tense minutes, she looked up, face pale. They're not just targeting humans, we're just the first step. They've been manipulating the Council for thousands of years, eliminating any species they deem a potential threat, and keeping the rest technologically dependent on Council systems that the Voidborn secretly control. We need to document everything and get this information back to Earth and the Council, Ilara decided. Ramirez, set up the quantum recorder. Kumar, collect any biological samples you can safely obtain. Maya, keep translating. Thalo and I will, A piercing alarm cut through the air. On the chamber floor, one of the Voidborn had stopped moving and was looking directly at their hiding place, as if it could see through the one-way material. It senses our thought patterns, Thalo said urgently. Voidborn are telepathic predators. We must leave now. They ran, all pretense of stealth abandoned as the station came alive around them. Doors sealed automatically, forcing them to find alternate routes. From side corridors emerged security drones, floating spheres that fired paralytic energy pulses. Ramirez took point, his military training evident as he picked off drones with precise shots from his pulse pistol. Commander, the path to the airlock is blocked. We need another exit. The launching bay, Thalo suggested. Level 3, Section Gamma. My ship can remote pilot to meet us there. They fought their way through the station, Kumar taking a glancing hit that left his left arm temporarily paralyzed. Behind them, the sound of pursuit grew. Not the mechanical whir of drones, but something worse. A dry, skittering noise like insectoid limbs on metal. The launch bay doors were closing when they arrived, the massive metal barriers slowly meeting. In the middle, without hesitation, Thalo extended limbs to form a brace between them, plant-like bodies straining against the immense pressure. Go, the Sylphid commanded, filaments flaring bright orange with effort. Ilara and her team slipped through the gap. Come on, Thalo. Cannot maintain much longer. With a final surge of strength, Thalo extracted itself just as the doors slammed shut, leaving behind 2 severed limb tips that immediately began to regenerate. Thalo's ship arrived moments later, docking tube extending to create an escape path. They boarded just as the first Voidborn reached the bay, its shadowed face pressing against a viewport with hungry curiosity. As they disengaged and accelerated away, Ramirez checked the quantum recorder. We got it all, Commander. Everything. We need to prove what's happening. Not everything, Ilara corrected. We still don't know how they've maintained this deception for millennia without discovery, or why they're making their move against humanity now. I might, Maya said quietly. She'd been reviewing the translated communications. According to what I've decoded, Earth sits on something they call the Nexus, a region of space with strategic value we don't yet understand. And they're accelerating their plans because... She looked up, eyes wide. Because humanity's rapid adaptation threatens to advance beyond their ability to control within a single generation. Kumar, nursing his injured arm, managed a grim smile. So we're not just dangerous, we're dangerously unpredictable. Which means we need to be even more unpredictable, Ilara decided. Maya, send encrypted transmissions to both Earth and the Galactic Council. Use all channels, maximum distribution. Even if some are blocked, others will get through. The Council won't believe us, Thalo warned. The Voidborn have had millennia to integrate themselves into Council systems. Then we'll make them believe. Ilara's expression hardened with determination. We're going to take our evidence directly to the Council chambers on Nexus Prime. Ramirez stared at her in disbelief. Commander, that's suicide. The moment we enter Council space, we'll be arrested, if we're not shot down first. Exactly. Ilara smiled, though there was no humor in it. They expect Deathworlders to fight or flee. They don't expect us to walk straight into their center of power and demand justice. Sometimes the most dangerous thing a predator can do is offer peace. As Thalo's ship calculated the jump coordinates for Nexus Prime, Ilara gazed at the stars, streaking past. The Voidborn had made one critical error in their careful plans. They had evaluated humans based on their physical capabilities and evolutionary history. What they failed to understand was that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their ability to survive on a death world. It was their refusal to let adversity define them. Deathworlders unleashed. The Council chambers of Nexus Prime hung in space, like a crystalline lotus, its translucent petals unfurled to reveal the central atrium where representatives from 87 species deliberated the fate of the galaxy. Surrounding it, a defensive perimeter of Council warships maintained vigilant watch against any threat. A threat like the small Sylphid scout vessel now transmitting approach codes on all emergency channels. This is Commander Ilara Chen of Earth, Alliance accompanied by Thalo of the Sylphid Collective. We come unarmed with evidence of critical importance to Council security. Request immediate audience with the full Council. The response was immediate and predictable. Human vessel, you, are ordered to power down and prepare for boarding. Any resistance will be met with lethal force. Inside the scout ship, Ramirez checked the tactical display. 23 warships adjusting position to surround us. Defense platforms targeting our engines. I count at least 40 fighter craft, launching. He shot Ilara a wry look. They're certainly rolling out the welcome mat. Commander, Maya interrupted. I'm detecting unusual communications between 3 of the Council ships. They're using encryption that doesn't match standard Council protocols. Thalo's filaments flickered with alarm. Void-born agents. As expected, Ilara nodded. They can't allow us to present our evidence. She opened a channel to the approaching Council forces. This is Commander Chen. We will comply with all instructions, but I must warn you, there are compromised vessels in your formation that will attempt to destroy us before we can be brought before the Council. There was a pause before a new voice responded, deeper, with the harmonics of the Kelthar species known for their commitment to justice. This is High Marshal Azeroth. Your warning is noted, human. Power down, as instructed. My personal guard will escort you. True to the High Marshal's word, 6 elite Council vessels moved into protective formation around the Sylphid Scout as it was guided to a docking bay. When the airlock opened, they were met by a contingent of Council peacekeepers led by Azeroth himself, a massive 4-armed being with iridescent scales and compound eyes that missed nothing. Commander Chen, Azeroth rumbled, your presence here violates 17 different Council proclamations. The penalty is severe. With respect, High Marshal, Ilara replied steadily. Once you've seen our evidence, you'll understand why we had no choice. Azeroth studied her for a long moment. You risk much by coming here. We risk everything by not coming, Thalo interjected, stepping forward. High Marshal, I vouch for these humans with my life. They did not attack the Sylphid habitat. They are victims of the same deception that has plagued the Council for millennia. Something in Thalo's words seemed to resonate with Azeroth. You will be scanned, disarmed, and escorted under guard to the inner chamber. The full Council will hear you, but be warned, if this is a deception or delay tactic, the consequences will extend to all of humanity. As they were led through the gleaming corridors of the Council station, Ilara noted the variety of species they passed. Some showed open hostility toward the humans, while others displayed curiosity. None, she realized, showed fear, despite the Deathworlder label. They had been told humans were dangerous, but few truly believed it in their hearts. That misconception might save them all. The inner chamber was a vast amphitheater with concentric rings of seating rising around a central platform. Representatives from dozens of species filled the seats, their murmured conversations creating a symphony of alien languages that faded to silence as Ilara's group was led to the center. Council Elder Vishara, a being composed of luminous gas contained within an ornate mechanical body, floated forward. Commander Ilara Chen of Earth, you stand accused of violating council space after your species was implicated in an unprovoked attack on the Sylphid Collective. What say you to these charges? Ilara stepped forward, her voice clear and unwavering. The attack on the Sylphid habitat was not perpetrated by humans. It was orchestrated by an ancient enemy you believed destroyed. Millennia ago, the Voidborn. A ripple of disbelief swept through the chamber. Elder Vishara's luminosity flickered in what might have been surprise or skepticism. The Voidborn are extinct. They were eliminated in the first purge, before most council species achieved spaceflight. They were not eliminated, Thalo countered. They infiltrated your political structures, your technology, your history itself. They have manipulated the council for 20,000 years, eliminating any species they deemed a threat to their control. Azeroth stepped forward. These are extraordinary claims. Where is your evidence? Maya activated the quantum recorder, and holographic projections filled the chamber. Images of the Voidborn base, recordings of their plans, translations of their communications. Kumar presented biological samples and scientific analyses, proving the weapons used against the Sylphid habitat were not of human design. As the evidence mounted, the council representatives grew increasingly disturbed. Questions came from all directions which Ilara and her team answered with calm precision. Throughout it all, Ilara noticed certain representatives slipping away from their seats, representatives from the oldest and most influential council species. Elder Vishara's mechanical body remained motionless as the presentation concluded. This is troubling. If accurate, it suggests a fundamental compromise of council security and sovereignty. We must deliberate on— There will be no deliberation, interrupted a new voice. From a high entrance, a delegation of the oldest council species entered, led by beings whose appearance caused Thalo's filaments to contract in recognition and fear. They appeared as respected council elders, but there was something wrong about their movements, something unsettling in their eyes. The humans present falsified evidence, announced one who bore the markings of a senior adjudicator. They seek to divide the council and prevent proper punishment for their aggression. Ilara recognized what the others couldn't yet see. Beneath the familiar facades of trusted council figures, the shadow-shifting visages of Voidborn, they had inserted themselves into the highest echelons of power, wearing the identities of those they had replaced. Before she could call out the deception, the chamber's energy barrier activated, separating the central platform from the audience. At the same instant, Ilara's team and their guards found themselves encircled by a shimmering field of containment energy. As senior adjudicator, I invoke emergency protocols. The disguised Voidborn continued. These humans and their Sylphid accomplice are to be immediately executed as enemies of galactic peace. High Marshal Azeroth struggled against the energy field, his powerful frame unable to break through. This is not council procedure. The evidence must be evaluated. The evidence is irrelevant, hissed the false adjudicator, its facade beginning to slip as shadows writhed beneath its skin. As it has been every time a Deathworld species has threatened our control. Throughout the chamber, chaos erupted as more disguised Voidborn revealed themselves, targeting key security positions and control systems. The chamber's defensive turrets, meant to protect the council, turned inward toward the representatives. This is their endgame, Ilara realized aloud. Not just humanity's isolation, they're eliminating the entire council leadership in one stroke. Ramirez strained against the energy field. Commander, we need options. Options. Ilara had one, prepared before they ever set foot on the station. She raised her wrist communicator to her lips. Chen to Earth Alliance Command. Authorization Sierra Echo Victor Echo November. Execute Protocol Lazarus. Nothing happened for several agonizing seconds. The false adjudicator laughed, a sound like dry leaves crumbling. Your species' pathetic attempts to... The chamber shuddered as proximity alarms screamed to life. On the main view screen, space itself seemed to tear open as 27 Earth Alliance warships materialized from FTL jumps, directly within the Council defense perimeter, bypassing it entirely. Impossible, gasped one of the Voidborn infiltrators. Their FTL technology can't achieve that precision. It couldn't, Alara agreed with grim satisfaction. Until 2 weeks ago. Maya smiled tightly. Adaptability. It's what makes humans dangerous. The Earthships launched targeted EMP bursts that disabled the chamber's energy systems without harming the representatives. As the containment field fell, Ramirez moved with lightning speed, tackling the nearest Voidborn infiltrator while Kumar used a concealed medical injector to deliver a compound specifically designed based on the biological samples they'd collected. A targeted paralytic, Kumar explained as the disguised being collapsed, its false appearance melting away to reveal the shadow skin beneath. Developed during our journey here. Throughout the chamber, Earth Special Forces materialized from personal teleportation devices, another technology the Council believed beyond human capability. They moved with practiced efficiency, identifying and neutralizing Voidborn infiltrators while protecting Council representatives. High Marshal Azeroth recovered quickly, bellowing orders to loyal Council forces who rushed to secure the station. On the view screens, the space battle unfolded as Voidborn ships emerged from hiding, their true forms now revealed. Angular obsidian vessels that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. But they faced not just the Council fleet. The Earth Alliance warships demonstrated capabilities that shocked even Alara. They moved with impossible agility, employing defensive systems that shrugged off Voidborn energy weapons while returning precisely targeted fire that disabled rather than destroyed their opponents. We could have come with weapons blazing, Alara explained to the stunned Council members gathering around her. We could have responded to isolation with aggression, as the Voidborn expected. Instead, we chose to reveal their deception and defend the Council, even after you condemned us. Elder Vishara's luminosity brightened as understanding dawned. You knew we wouldn't believe you without overwhelming evidence. You knew the Voidborn would expose themselves if they thought they could eliminate both humanity's representatives and the Council leadership simultaneously. A calculated risk, Alara acknowledged, but one with the highest potential reward, truth. On the view screens, Admiral Kingston appeared, directing the Earth Fleet's movements with calm authority. Commander Chen, status report. Mission successful. Admiral. Voidborn infiltrators exposed and Council leadership secured. Kingston nodded. Good work. Be advised we're detecting Voidborn reinforcements entering the system. Estimate 3 minutes until engagement. A ripple of alarm spread through the chamber. High Marshal Azeroth stepped forward, mandibles clicking with determination. This Council owes humanity an apology and a debt. Today we fight together. What followed was a battle unlike any the galaxy had witnessed in 20 millennia. The Voidborn fleet, hidden in deep space for countless generations, converged on Nexus Prime with overwhelming numbers. Nearly 300 shadow vessels, against the combined forces of the Council and Earth's small but advanced fleet. Under normal circumstances, it would have been a slaughter. But these were not normal circumstances. Earth's Admiral Kingston coordinated a masterful defense, employing tactics developed on humanity's Deathworld, where thinking predators had learned to hunt in packs, to use terrain as a weapon, to adapt instantly when strategies failed. The Council fleet, accustomed to rigid battle protocols, followed Kingston's lead with increasing confidence as his unorthodox approaches proved devastatingly effective. From the Council Chamber Command Center, Ilara and her team provided crucial intelligence on Voidborn weaknesses. Thalo's biological insights combined with Kumar's scientific analysis allowed the Allied fleet to calibrate their weapons to maximum effect. They're telepathically linked, Thalo explained, filaments pulsing with excitement. It gives them perfect coordination, but also creates a central vulnerability. Kumar nodded, fingers flying across a council terminal. If we can identify the command vessel and disrupt its telepathic emissions, we can blind their entire fleet. Simultaneously, Alara finished. She turned to Maya. Can you isolate the command signatures from the communications you translated? Maya was already working. On it, Commander. I need access to the Council sensor array. High Marshal Azeroth personally authorized the access, his compound eyes reflecting the battle unfolding on the main screen. In all my cycles, I never imagined fighting alongside Deathworlders, he admitted. We were taught to fear your kind. Fear has its place, Alara replied, watching as a human vessel took a direct hit but continued fighting, its redundant systems, another adaptation from Earth's harsh lessons, keeping it operational. It teaches caution, but understanding teaches cooperation. Commander, Maya called out. I've identified the Voidborn command ship. Sending coordinates now. What happened next would be recorded in Council archives as the Nexus Prime Maneuver. 3 Earth vessels executed a series of impossibly precise micro-jumps, appearing at different points around the massive Voidborn command ship. Each deployed a specialized disruptor designed by Kumar in the shuttle's small lab during their journey, a device that turned the Voidborn's telepathic link against them. The effect was immediate and devastating. Throughout the Voidborn fleet, ships suddenly lost coordination, their movements becoming erratic as the telepathic commands devolved into chaotic noise. The Allied forces pressed their advantage, systematically disabling the now vulnerable enemy vessels. They're retreating, Ramirez announced as the surviving Voidborn ships broke formation and disappeared into FTL jumps. The council chamber erupted in cheers, representatives from dozens of species celebrating together. But Alara's expression remained serious. This isn't over, she cautioned. We've won the battle, but the Voidborn have been manipulating galactic affairs for millennia. There will be more infiltrators, more hidden bases. Elder Vishara floated forward, mechanical limbs extended in a gesture of formal respect. You are correct, Commander Chen, which is why the Council will require humanity's continued assistance. The Elder's gas form swirled thoughtfully. Perhaps our fear of Deathworlders was misplaced. Perhaps what the galaxy truly needed was a species forged in adversity, yet committed to peace. In the days that followed, an unprecedented alliance formed between Earth and the Galactic Council. The knowledge that Voidborn infiltrators might exist within any species created initial suspicion, but also a shared purpose that transcended old prejudices. A joint task force was established, combining Earth's adaptability with Council resources. Thalo became the first Sylphid to serve as a direct liaison, its unique modifications making it ideally suited for the role. 6 months later, Ilara stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned Alliance vessel Harbinger, named in honor of the first Council ship to respond to the Sylphid distress call. Beside her, Admiral Kingston gazed out at the combined Earth Council fleet preparing for departure. The Voidborn have gone to ground, Kingston said. Intelligence suggests they've retreated to bases in uncharted space beyond the galactic rim. They'll be back, Alara replied. They've invested too much to abandon their plans entirely. Kingston nodded. And we'll be ready. He turned to face her. The Council has officially reclassified Earth. We're no longer designated as a death world species. Ilara smiled slightly. What are we now? Guardian species, Kingston replied with a hint of pride. The Council recognized that the very traits that made us dangerous, our adaptability, our tendency to protect others even at personal cost, our ability to thrive under pressure, are exactly what the galaxy needs in the face of the Voidborn threat. Beyond the viewport, Earth vessels flew in formation with ships of a dozen different Council species. Engineers from multiple worlds collaborated on new defensive systems. Scientists shared knowledge previously kept isolated within their respective civilizations. It's ironic, Ilara observed. The Voidborn tried to use fear of our differences to divide us. Instead, they created something they truly should fear. Unity. Kingston chuckled. Careful, Commander. That sounds almost philosophical. Just an observation, sir. Ilara watched as a Sylphid bioship gracefully maneuvered alongside a human cruiser, their different designs complementing each other perfectly. Turns out being Deathworlders doesn't define us. It's what we choose to do with our strength that matters. As the fleet prepared to jump to its first destination, a suspected Voidborn outpost in the Perseus Arm, Ilara felt a profound sense of purpose. Humanity had not just survived its trial by fire, it had emerged as a catalyst for change throughout the galaxy. The Deathworlders had arrived not as conquerors but as guardians, and the stars themselves would never be the same.